One met his tragic end at his own home.
Police say it was in this home where 18-year-old Zion Brown was shot.
Another was shot in the head.
A victim was shot here in the head.
Some of Foolio's closest allies have met brutal ends, and now Foolio has joined the ranks of the fallen. On June 23rd, rising artist Foolio was shockingly ambushed at a Holiday Inn parking lot in Tampa, Florida. For years, Foolio was involved in one of Jacksonville's deadliest gang rivalries. So why weren't his top shooters there to protect him? Did his closest allies betray him? In this video, we uncover the fate of Foolio's deadliest hitmen and explore why they were nowhere to be found when he needed them most. Zion Brown.
Police say it was in this home where 18-year-old Zion Brown was shot.
Every street has its legends, and Zion Brown was one of them. Zion was the blood cousin of rapper Foolio and was said to be one of the deadliest hitmen in the KTA gang. KTA, which stands for Kill Them All, is as scary as it sounds. The gang started in the streets of Jacksonville, where Zion grew up. KTA came from the old PCE gang, which had caused a lot of trouble in the city. The PCE gang got hit hard by the law, with its top 10 members getting arrested for murder and gun crimes. This left a gap that was quickly filled by those who were left, looking for new leaders. It was during this time that Zion Brown's cousin, Foolio, is speculated to have joined the gang. For a long time, KTA has been fighting with a rival gang called ATK, which stands for Aim to Kill. This feud started from a small event in November 2015. At a Kodak Black concert in Jacksonville, members of both gangs were there. A simple handshake was refused, leading to a fist fight that quickly turned into a series of shootings. This incident started a bitter and deadly rivalry. Zion, as one of the key members of KTA, was in the thick of it. He was deeply involved in the gang's activities, earning a reputation for being ruthless and fearless. However, on May 27th, 18-year-old Zion Brown would meet his end. In the early morning hours of May 27th, 2017, Zion Brown was at home sleeping. His 16-year-old sister, along with 4 other children, were also in the house, all asleep. Suddenly, a crashing noise from the kitchen woke everyone up. They gathered in the living room to find that a sliding glass door had been broken with a rock. Without warning, someone outside began shooting into the house, causing everyone to scramble for cover. Zion's sister, SB, recognized the shooter as DeAndre Thomas, who she knew as Trey Shorty from social media. Thomas walked into the living room, gun in hand, and fired multiple shots before leaving. Zion, SB, and another child were hit. Zion died from multiple gunshot wounds, while SB was shot in her leg and foot, and the third victim sustained gunshot wounds throughout her body. When the police and paramedics arrived, it was too late for Zion. He succumbed to his injuries, leaving a family and community in shock. SB informed the police that Trey Shorty was the shooter and showed them his Facebook profile. This crucial information led to the police obtaining an arrest warrant for DeAndre Thomas, who was arrested the next day. The investigation revealed that Thomas had been communicating with SB over social media, and this connection played a significant role in identifying him as the killer. Thomas was arrested the following day near Butler Boulevard and Belfort Road. He was charged with murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. The 16-year-old girl also told the police that Zion named Thomas as the shooter as he lay dying. This critical piece of information helped the authorities build a strong case against Thomas. As the investigation continued, more details about Thomas's criminal history came to light. He had prior arrests in Clay County, including a drug possession charge in February, a felony drug possession charge in 2016, and 6 counts of burglary in 2015, one of which involved a stolen gun. These revelations painted a picture of a young man with a troubled past, but they did little to explain the motive behind the murder. However, those familiar with the streets knew that the killing was related to the ongoing gang wars between KTA and ATK. Zion Brown's death escalated the feud, leading to a series of retaliatory actions and further violence. As the streets of Jacksonville continued to run red with blood, another name soon surfaced in the deadly gang warfare: Rico Osama. Growing up in the tough streets of Jacksonville, Rico was no stranger to the harsh realities of life. From a young age, he was drawn to street life, and by his teenage years, he had become affiliated with 6 Block, a gang affiliated with ATK. It was during this time that he also began to explore his passion for music, using rap as an outlet to express his experiences and struggles. Rico's affiliation with 6 Block brought him into the orbit of Foolio. Foolio, at the time, had already made a name for himself with his raw and unfiltered style of rap that often depicted the violent life on the streets. Rico saw in Foolio a mentor and a guide, someone who had successfully navigated the dangerous waters of gang life while making a mark in the music industry. While the exact details of Rico's involvement in the ongoing gang feud remain unclear, many believe that his connections made him a target in the brutal rivalry between ATK and KTA. This deadly conflict had already claimed numerous lives, and sadly, Rico would also become a casualty of this relentless war. On December 12, 2022, Rico Osama's life came to a violent end. The day started like any other in Jacksonville, but around 3:53 p.m., the sound of gunfire shattered the normalcy near the 6300 block of San Juan Avenue. An off-duty cop nearby heard the shots and immediately alerted the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. The rapid succession of shots drew officers to the scene urgently. When they arrived, they found a devastating sight. 3 adult males, including Rico, had been shot. The parking lot of the business plaza was littered with shell casings, stark evidence of the violence that had just occurred. One business owner recounted the terror of the moment, describing how a bullet pierced through the walls of his establishment.
I got a metal desk, fortunately. I jumped down behind that and just waited for it to stop. I got a bullet in the refrigerator, actually.
Surveillance cameras from a nearby business captured the brutal aftermath, showing one of the victims crawling across the street with a bullet wound in his side.
Seconds later, a man in a blue shirt appears from around the corner. He looks to be shot and drops to the sidewalk before crawling to a nearby business. EMS is seen arriving moments later. The man is one of 2 people hurt and underwent surgery.
The victims were swiftly transported to the hospital. For Rico, it was the end. For the other 2, a fight for survival as they underwent surgery, their conditions critical. As the investigation unfolded, details emerged about a lone shooter dressed entirely in black, who may have been involved in a foot chase prior to the shooting.
Police said yesterday that the suspect ran from the scene and was wearing a mask.
This individual, believed to have fled the scene on foot, became the subject of an intense manhunt. Despite the efforts, no one was ever arrested for the murder. The tragedy was made worse by the heartbreaking fact that Rico Osama had recently welcomed a newborn child into the world, born the same month he was gunned down. Trey D. Trey D., whose real name was Lawrence Davis, hailed from the Lackawanna area of Jacksonville, Florida. This neighborhood, known for its rough streets and high crime rates, shaped much of Trey D's early life and experiences. Growing up in such an environment, it was almost inevitable that Trey D would find himself entangled in the web of street life and gang affiliations that dominated the area. From a young age, Trey D was drawn to the allure of the streets. He quickly became known for his fearless demeanor and willingness to confront any challenge head-on. This reputation earned him the nickname Trey 8, a name that would become synonymous with his identity. His involvement in the local gang scene began to deepen as he aligned himself with 6 Block, a notorious group in Jacksonville. One of the most significant relationships in Trey D's life was his close friendship with Foolio. The 2 shared a bond that went beyond their mutual involvement in 6 Block. They were like brothers, supporting each other through the highs and lows of their tumultuous lives. Foolio often referred to Trey D in his music, painting a picture of a deadly shooter who was always ready to defend his crew. His reputation as a fierce and loyal enforcer made him a key figure in the ongoing conflicts between the gangs. Trey D's involvement in 6 Block and his close relationship with Foolio placed him at the center of some of the most intense and violent conflicts in Jacksonville. The rivalry between 6 Block and other gangs like Head First, Boss City, and Cut Circle was marked by a series of retaliatory attacks and violent confrontations. One of the most infamous incidents involving Trey D was the shooting on Ellis Street in November 2015. This event, which resulted in the deaths of Head First members Amp and Bando, was a turning point in the ongoing feud. It is widely believed that Trey D was one of the gunmen involved in this attack, a retaliation for Foolio being shot by a Head First member named Rasta. Trey D is also believed to have been the gunman in a hit on Yungeen Ace, the leader of the ATK gang, which tragically resulted in the death of Ace's brother. This tragic event occurred on June 5th, 2018. Yungeen Ace went to the Wasabi Steakhouse to celebrate his best friend 23's birthday. After the celebration, Ace, 23, Ace's blood brother Quan, and their friend 4 got into a car to head home. While stopped at a red light, another car pulled up beside them and unleashed a barrage of over 100 shots. Tragically, Yungeen Ace was the sole survivor of the attack, while the other 3 occupants of the car lost their lives in the hail of gunfire. Trey D's life came to a tragic end a little over a month after the Yungeen Ace shooting. In July 2018, Trey D and other ATK members, including BB, Mitch, and Kenny K, attended a yearly reunion held in 1200 Cut Circle territory. This was enemy territory, and their presence there was a significant risk. An argument broke out between 6 Block and Cut Circle members, leading to a violent confrontation.
Police say dozens of rounds were fired. I walked up and down both sides of the road to see how many evidence markers were left behind. I counted up to 42 of these orange markings along the street.
It is widely believed that Trey D was killed by a Cut Circle member named CP3. CP3 allegedly hinted at his involvement in Trey D's death in a song, suggesting that he wouldn't have killed Trey D if Foolio hadn't fought CP3's friend. CP3 also mentioned being shot 5 times in retaliation for Trey D's killing. This incident was part of the gang violence that continued to plague the streets of Jacksonville, ultimately leading to the death of the next hitman on our list, Lil Buck. Charles Quentin McCormick, better known by his stage name Lil Buck, was born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida. Growing up in a city renowned for its vibrant yet chaotic rap scene, Lil Buck, like many others on this list, was exposed to the harsh realities of street life from a young age. As a teenager, Lil Buck began to take his music more seriously. His music was a reflection of his life, gritty, unfiltered, and deeply personal. His lyrics often touched on themes of survival, loyalty, and the struggles of growing up in a violent environment. Through his raw and authentic storytelling, Lil Buck managed to capture the essence of his experiences and the harsh reality of the streets. One of the pivotal moments in Lil Buck's early career was his association with Foolio, another prominent rapper from Jacksonville. Foolio, known for his hard-hitting lyrics and street credibility, saw potential in Lil Buck and took him under his wing. The affiliation with Foolio also brought Lil Buck into the orbit of the larger rap community in Jacksonville, further solidifying his place in the scene. However, with fame came increased scrutiny and danger. Lil Buck's close association with Foolio and the ATK gang ultimately led to his tragic death.
A victim was shot here in the head. Multiple people on scene telling me they heard at least 6 gunshots. It's a very sad scene out here.
On January 15th, 2020, Lil Buck was at the Dames Point Plaza shopping center in Jacksonville. It was around 11 a.m. when the unthinkable happened. An off-duty officer witnessed a gunman approach Lil Buck, stand over him, and shoot him with a rifle. The gunman then fled the scene in a Nissan Altima, setting off a dramatic chase. The officer pursued the car until it crashed on Townsend Boulevard. 3 men inside the vehicle fled on foot, with 2 of them running into a nearby house. Inside, they held the homeowner hostage, forcing her to help them change clothes before someone arrived to pick them up, and they made their escape. The brazen nature of the attack and the subsequent chase shocked the community and highlighted the extreme lengths to which these gang rivalries had escalated. The investigation into Lil Buck's murder swiftly pointed to members of the ATK gang, with particular emphasis on the notorious figure known as Queso. For those who don't know, Queso, whose real name is Hakeem Robinson, is one of the most feared and infamous members of the ATK gang. Known for his violent reputation, Queso has been implicated in multiple murders, solidifying his status as a key player in the ongoing gang conflicts that plague Jacksonville. Queso's infamy extends beyond the streets. He is also a prominent figure in the genre of murder rap, where artists openly boast about real-life crimes in their lyrics. His songs are chilling, raw, and unapologetic, providing a dark soundtrack to the violence that surrounds him. Queso's brazen attitude and ruthless actions have made him a symbol of the deadly feud between ATK and KTA. On September 10th, Queso was arrested and charged with second-degree murder for the killing of Lil Buck. His father, 50-year-old Abdul Kareem Robinson, was also arrested and charged with accessory after the fact. The involvement of Queso's family underscored the deep-rooted nature of these gang conflicts, where loyalty and revenge often span generations. Further arrests followed, with 27-year-old Dominique Jared Barner charged on March 19, 2020, with second-degree murder and aggravated fleeing an officer. 23-year-old Janera Jeranice Smith was charged with accessory after the fact. The police investigation revealed a chilling level of premeditation and coordination among the suspects. Barner admitted to detectives that he was driving the Nissan with Queso and Leroy G. Whitaker with the specific intent of killing Lil Buck. According to Barner, the motive was revenge for a song Lil Buck had made that disrespected Hakeem Robinson's deceased brother, Boss Goon. However, many speculate that there was more to the story than just the song. Some believe that Lil Buck might have been the hitman responsible for Boss Goon's death. This speculation only fueled the motive further, making the act even more personal and vengeful. But the story of Queso doesn't end there with the murder of Lil Buck. His reign of terror extended beyond this single tragic event. He was also implicated in the murder of another of Foolio's gang members, Bibby. Adrian Gaynor Jr., known to his family and friends as Bibby, was Foolio's 16-year-old younger brother. Due to his brother's influence, Bibby was said to be associated with the KTA gang. Born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, Bibby was a bright and promising young man. At 16, he was an honor roll student with a passion for music and a heart full of dreams. His infectious smile and warm personality made him a beloved figure in his community. However, Bibby became another casualty in the ongoing gang war between ATK and KTA. This tragic event occurred on February 25th, 2019. The day began like any other for Bibby. He had just finished his classes at the Grand Park Education Center and was on his way home. Bibby lived in the Hilltop Village Apartments, a complex located on West 45th Street. This area, like many others in Jacksonville, faced the challenges of urban life, but it was a tight-knit community where families and friends looked out for one another. As part of his routine, he made a stop at a local store before returning to the apartment complex where he lived with his family. As he crossed the parking lot of the Hilltop Village Apartments, the calm was abruptly disrupted by the sound of gunfire. Multiple shots rang out, creating an atmosphere of instant panic and fear. The incident occurred just before 3 p.m., and residents who were nearby or looking out their windows witnessed the terrifying event. Among the witnesses was Bibby's aunt, Vanetta Lamar. She saw a man fleeing from another man who was firing at him, not realizing that the person being chased was her own nephew. The shooter was masked, making it impossible to identify him. According to the arrest warrant, K-So was identified as the shooter. In a calculated and cold-blooded act, he approached Gaynor and shot him at close range in the back of the head or neck, even as the young teen desperately tried to defend himself. After the murder, the warrant revealed that Robinson took to social media, posting numerous photos and videos where he seemed to boast about the killing of Bibby.
After the murder, investigators say Robinson posted several photos and videos bragging about Gaynor's murder.
This blatant display of arrogance and disregard for human life added another layer of horror to the case, further inflaming the community's grief and anger. But the disrespect didn't stop there. K-So and his gang reportedly went to great lengths to dishonor Bibby's memory, even desecrating his grave and taunting his relatives at every opportunity.
They tore up his grave, they spit on his grave, they urinated on his grave, they made fun of our rallies or whatever, they made fun of us marching, they mocked us every chance that they got.
Yungeen Ace of the ATK gang later released a diss track where he mentioned several deceased individuals involved in violent altercations, including Bibby. In the track, Yungeen Ace shockingly admitted to the killing with the line, "Who I smoke, Bibby." This clearly shows that Bibby's death was a result of the ongoing gang war between ATK and KTA. Rod K. Rapper Rod K was a rising star in Jacksonville's drill rap scene. Born and raised in the gritty streets of Jacksonville, Florida, Rod K was a product of his environment. He spent most of his life in the Hilltop Village apartments, an area notorious for high crime rates and gang activity. Growing up in such a volatile environment, Rod K was no stranger to the harsh realities of street life. From a young age, he was exposed to the violence, drugs, and gang culture that permeated his neighborhood. It is believed that Rod K met Foolio in this neighborhood, forming a connection rooted in their shared experiences and environment. Like Foolio, Rod K was deeply involved in street life, where involvement was not just a choice, but a necessity for survival. The streets of Jacksonville were a battleground, with rival gangs constantly vying for control. In such a dangerous environment, aligning with a gang provided a means of protection and belonging. He was known for his affiliation with 6 Block, which was part of the larger KTA faction led by Foolio. Rod K, like many others, found himself caught in the crossfire of this ongoing war between KTA and ATK. Rod K's reputation in the streets was one of both respect and fear. He was known for his fearlessness and his willingness to stand up for his crew no matter the cost. This reputation made him a target for rival gangs, particularly the ATK crew, who saw him as a significant threat. On the night of November 19th, 2020, the first in a series of violent events unfolded. Although the details are somewhat hazy, it is known that Spaz 2X, a close friend of Foolio and Rod K, was killed. This significant loss hit the KTA crew hard, setting the stage for further tragedy. The following, November 20th, 2020, violence erupted again at the Hilltop Village apartments. This time, Rod K lost his life. The circumstances of his death are surrounded by mystery and controversy. Some say Rod K was trying to avenge Spaz's death when he was fatally shot. However, an unverified Reddit comment from Rod K's brother offers a different account, claiming Rod K was merely out buying blunts when he was killed. Regardless of the exact circumstances, Rod K's death was a devastating blow to Foolio and the KTA crew. The Hilltop Village apartments, once a place of familiarity and community, had become a war zone, with lives being lost in the crossfire of this brutal feud. In the immediate aftermath of Rod K's death, the ATK crew wasted no time mocking Foolio's losses. Yungeen Ace posted a screenshot from Foolio's upcoming music video with a caption stating, "This video has got 2 dead people in it and it's only been 4 days." Foolio, however, downplayed the loss of his friends in an Instagram post, stating, "It ain't getting to me because nothing can get to me, because that's what the streets are. The world gonna keep going. I'm really disappointed, but I'm gonna keep focused." Despite his public display of resilience, the loss of Rod K and Spaz undoubtedly had a profound impact on him. Dirk. Jonathan Thomas, known on the streets as Dirk, was a vibrant and promising young man whose life was tragically cut short. Born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, Dirk was the youngest of his siblings and a beloved son. Foolio and Dirk shared a close relationship, though the exact circumstances of their meeting remain unclear. Unfortunately, like many others on this list, Dirk's life was tragically cut short when he was caught in the crossfire of gang activity. The tragic incident occurred on the night of July 10th, 2014. The evening had started joyfully, with the Thomas family gathered to celebrate their mother's birthday on Detail Drive in northwest Jacksonville. However, as the night wore on, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. At approximately 2:30 in the morning, the sound of gunshots shattered the stillness, sending shock through the community. Dirk was found lying at the end of a driveway near the street. He had been shot and was pronounced dead at the scene. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office quickly responded to the call, dispatching officers to Detail Drive. Upon their arrival, they found Dirk's lifeless body and immediately began securing the area. Steve Zona, a representative from the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office Homicide Unit, confirmed that Dirk had died from a gunshot wound. The news of Dirk's death spread rapidly, leaving his family and friends in a state of disbelief and sorrow. His older sister, Tereka Parker, was particularly devastated. She described her brother as a good kid with a bright future, emphasizing that he was only 16 years old and had a baby on the way. The loss was incomprehensible, and the family struggled to come to terms with the tragedy. Law enforcement officers began their investigation by interviewing potential witnesses and canvassing the area. Despite their efforts, they did not have any vehicle or suspect descriptions at the time. The lack of immediate leads added to the frustration and anguish felt by Dirk's loved ones. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office's SWAT team moved in on a home 2 doors down from where Dirk was found, taking 2 men into custody. One man was handcuffed and placed in a police cruiser, while the other was not handcuffed but was also taken away by the police. However, no arrests were announced in connection with Dirk's death. The impact of Jonathan's death was profound on Foolio, who released a song titled Jonathan Thomas as a tribute to him. The final name on this list is unique because out of all the names mentioned, he is the only one still alive. K Shorty. K Shorty also grew up in the challenging environment of Jacksonville, Florida, where he faced numerous obstacles from a young age. Living in the Hilltop Village apartments, K Shorty was deeply influenced by the rampant crime and poverty in his neighborhood. Despite his difficult upbringing, he found solace and a sense of purpose in music, which quickly propelled him to prominence in the drill rap scene. K Shorty is speculated to be involved with the KTA gang run by Foolio. Like many others on this list, his entanglement with the gang caught him in the violent feud with the rival ATK gang. Before turning 21, K Shorty experienced both incredible highs and devastating lows. He was fielding 7-figure record deals and had a promising career ahead of him, but he was also shot twice and witnessed the death of his girlfriend. These personal tragedies and his involvement in gang activities led to a series of legal troubles that ultimately derailed his rising music career. In February 2021, K Shorty was arrested and charged with possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. This charge came after he was found with a gun during a shootout, and his DNA was discovered on the weapon and a hoodie used as a mask. Despite the serious charges, K Shorty's music continued to gain popularity, with fans drawn to his raw and authentic depiction of street life. Later in 2021, K Shorty faced even more serious charges, including second-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. These charges stemmed from a gang-related shooting where he was accused of killing a rival gang member. K Shorty's manager testified that these legal troubles dried up interest from major record labels, putting his promising career on hold. The investigation into K Shorty's activities revealed a chilling level of premeditation and coordination. His involvement in gang-related violence was further corroborated by the lyrics of his songs, which prosecutors used as evidence against him in court. Despite his attempts to portray himself as a rapper trying to escape his circumstances, K Shorty's actions painted a different picture. Currently, K Shorty is the only one of Foolio's associates on this list who is still alive, and that's because he is serving a 12-year prison sentence. If he were not behind bars, his fate might have been much different. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.